Guys, thanks for covering the Canes and for coming out today. I know you guys missed us last couple of days, but had a chance to rest up the team and get healthy and get started on UVA. Clearly, University of Virginia, different team coming out of the bye week, 446 yards on offense and 48 carries for almost 250 yards, and did a great job with the time of possession and 6 sacks, 4 takeaways against NC State, and held NC State, I think, to something like 19 yards rushing. So they've clearly made some changes. Really impressed with UVA's offensive line, especially the tackles in the center. I think the center is as good as anybody we've seen so far this year. We're seeing 2 quarterbacks in Sims and Rocco. And I really think their running back depth is excellent. Perry Jones, Parks, and Richardson. We'll see all 3 of them. Jones and Parks are kind of interchangeable. Jones catching the ball in the backfield really well. Great runner, can change the field. Great lateral cut. So both are excellent, in the screen game and with their hands. We'll see a number of receivers in the game, and then obviously the tight ends are a strength as well. So big, strong, rugged team. Beat us the last 2 years and 4 of the last 6, and clearly that coupled with the NC State game has got our team's attention, and hopefully we'll be able to maintain our focus and get ready for a great UVA team in Charlottesville. On defense, again, rugged up front. Greer's the guy who makes it all run in the middle. I really like him. Physical player. Reynolds, number 9, outside linebacker, bring him a lot on pressure. He's got 53 tackles on the year. Again, big and strong and long up front on defense. Same as last year. We're seeing a lot more Harold now, and he looks like a dynamic young player at defensive end. Nicholson's having a great year for them at corner with 11 PBUs, and Harris, number 8, very active. So, again, I think we're expecting the University of Virginia team that played last week, and clearly they, had some turnover ratio issues, which had led to some mistakes earlier in the year, but they clearly got that cleaned up in the bye week, and they looked different last week in terms of how they're operating. So with that, I'll open any questions you have.
How every team in the country, yours included, has always stressed, win the week, one game, no one forward, no one back. How much tougher does that get when these kids know the Coastal's in their hands?
Well, they have to learn how to do it. I think it's difficult because it's the first time that we're navigating that. We were pretty much out by this time last year, so we're just trying to keep them focused. And again, this is where you either your discipline, your habits, and your process either holds up or cracks. And we're trying to teach them how to make it so habitual, if you will, or so disciplined and ingrained, if you will, that it can withstand anything. And for us to want to go where we want to go in the coming years, this is the first step for us, Tim. And it's really important to just stay focused on UVA and block everything else out.
Does being in the title mix, help bring you that extra boost of energy that maybe you didn't have last year? I know you weren't the coach a couple years ago, but this team hasn't done as well at the end of the year recently.
You mean the Miami Hurricanes?
Yeah. Miami Hurricanes.
Well, I hope. Again, that's part of it. Part of being in the mix towards the end should supply you with some energy and should reinforce your focus. And again, we have goals as a team, but our goal right now is to prepare as well as we can, block out everything external, and just stay focused on the University of Virginia. Because clearly, again, I said it last year at the end of the season. This was a team last year that was physical and strong, and so it's going to be a great challenge for us, and it's going to be a barometer for us to see where we are from this time last year.
With these 2 quarterbacks they have, how do they compare? How do they contrast?
Well, I think they're both good. They're, obviously they won with both of them, and Sims launched one on a play action. Again, they're hitting their outlets. They'll throw it to the 2 tailbacks out of the backfield. They'll scout them out, throw them out there if they're getting pressure. They're excellent screen throwers. They're not afraid to move the pocket with them or play action and get a chunk. So, again, I'm sure, from Laser's standpoint that, and from Mike's standpoint, that they see them differently in terms of how they operate. But right now we're just preparing for the totality of the Virginia offense, not really just one quarterback or the other.
Al, what is it like looking at the films from earlier in the year when they really struggled, and then the NC State game when they seem to be a different team?
Well, I could tell you this: the biggest thing was, they got to the quarter. I think they only had 7 sacks coming into NC State, and then they got to them 6 times. And I think they were, if I'm saying this correctly, I think they were minus 16 going into NC State, and now they're minus 12. So that's just turnovers have again I don't study it like Mike studies it, but I think he would say, hey, if he went into the off week, I'm sure he said, okay, here's what we got to do on offense, A, B, and C, and here's what we got to do on defense. And as a team, we have to protect our quarterback, get after the opposing team's quarterback. They've done that with system and personnel, seeing more Harold and Moore and guys like that on defensive line. And I'm sure they put a great emphasis on protecting the ball and taking it away. And obviously they brought that to fruition. But in terms of stopping the run right now, I mean, this team is as good as anybody in the country. Last 3 games, 40 yards a game, stopping the run. Like I said, they're strong, they're efficient, they're physical. They got a Mike that runs it, gets them lined up, and Reynolds 9 comes off the edge along with the other Will, and again, they're a physical team, so we better be ready to go.
What are you seeing your own quarterback play?
Well, again, I think Steven is developing every week. He's getting better every week. We've faced some really good defenses. We're going to face another good one coming up, and I think he's just got to get back to just trusting those around him. Stop looking for the big play. Just hit some singles. Let the guys around him. Let Mike James. Again, the great lesson is the Mike James play on I think it was our 2nd touchdown. It's a 1-yard completion that ends up being a 16-yard touchdown. And he just needs to get back to doing more of that. Just trusting the guys around him, distribute the football. It doesn't always have to be down the field. And we can, we have enough talent out there that we can get explosive plays without throwing it 50 yards down the field. And so I think he's just got to settle in. We're protecting him well. We've got to continue to protect him well. This team will pressure you. And last year they got to us. Make no mistake about it, they got us. We got to protect well for them.
How can you talk about, you mentioned turnovers with Virginia. How about your own team? I think you have 18 this year. You had 15 all last year. You had 3 the other day that were all big. You just talk about,
You mean our ratio? I think you mean our turnover ratio, or just?
Just the turnovers you guys are creating this year.
Yeah, we're starting to create some turnovers, and again, a lot of it sometimes, George, to be honest with you, as coaches, we'll do the drills and everything, but the reality is sometimes it's just players. Sometimes there's just guys that, with a little bit of training, if they have that knack for it or they look for it, they can make some plays. But we're starting to get interceptions now. I think that's the biggest difference. Even last year we were trying to rip it out a lot. I think back to, Jimmy a year ago or Sean Spence or guys like that were always trying to rip it out. But I think the biggest difference right now is we're getting some interceptions. And we're doing that without getting a lot of pressure on the quarterback. So hopefully we can continue to pressure the quarterback, and that should disrupt us a little bit more. But we're protecting the ball well on offense. We better against this team, and we're taking it away on defense. We got to continue to do that.
Talking to Jed yesterday about 3rd down conversions, he obviously brought up you need to be successful on 1st and 2nd down
Sure.
to get into 3rd and makeable.
Yeah.
What are the keys on the early downs to get to that point?
Yeah, just be efficient. I'm not going to get into too much because of what Virginia does, but clearly I think they had 8 3-and-outs against NC State, and I think we had 5 against Virginia Tech. So, clearly that's part of their MO, and that's part of their success on 3rd down. They get you into 3rd and longers situations, and then they do a nice job of getting the ball out and either tackling you or putting pressure on you. But as many times as they sacked Glennon last week in Raleigh, they hit him. They hit him an awful lot. So we have to be efficient on 1st and 2nd down. We can't be sitting there in those band downs, as I call them. Those 3rd and longs where they strike up the band and everybody gets jacked up and they're getting in sprinter stances and coming after you. So it's really important that we're efficient on 1st and 2nd down.
How can you tell us about the Dion Bush? How he's feeling today? I know he went to see the doctor.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's gonna be tough. We're holding them out right now. I would say if I had to list it today, I don't have to list it till Thursday, but if I was gonna list it today, it'd be doubtful.
And Denzel?
Denzel, tomorrow will be the day where we learn, where he's at. We've been just trying to protect him at this point.
Their quarter, it continues to kind of be one of those times where it's tough to, not producing a whole lot. Is there,
Yeah.
is there a mystery behind that?
Yeah, it's just how you look at it, it's just how you look at it. Because I look at it like our defense I think we've only given up, 3 points in the last 3 games in the third quarter or something like that. So our defense has been very productive. Our offense has not been as productive for sure in the third quarter. And I think this is the first game in the last 3 or 4 where we actually started on offense. I'm pretty sure maybe the last 3 or 4 games that we actually started on offense in the third quarter. And I think we went 3 and out, if I'm not mistaken. So, but there's no question that overall we have not had the production that we need to have in the third quarter. And but it's more than that. We can't have the 3 and outs, and we gotta produce on third down. I think third down has a lot to do with it. Let's be honest.
Specifically on the physicality of their defense, in the last 2 years they've knocked your starting quarterback out of the game.
Yep.
So obviously that's something that you obviously don't want that in the back of Steven's mind. But just talk about the role of the offensive line this week and kind of.
Yeah, they know. I mean, they know what's up. They know this team is strong. We got a lot of sacks last year, got a lot of pressure. And that's on the running backs, the tight ends, and the offensive line. I don't think there's any question. We know what Virginia is and what they were last year, and they're a big, strong, rugged team that's tough. And as they played last week, I know that's how they want to conduct the game. They don't want to beat themselves. So that onus is on everybody, and then Steven's got to get rid of the ball as well.
In general, could you just talk about your pass pro so far this year? What you've thought about it? Or?
I think it's been excellent,
Yeah.
and I think this will be as big a challenge as we've seen, both in personnel and then from a system standpoint. This team will pressure you, and I mean rushing 6 or more than anybody.
When the noise was really loud a few weeks ago about the defense, the external noise.
Yeah.
Because you have such a unusual relationship with Mark, obviously deeper than even a lot of coach-coordinator relationships probably go around the country. Did you ever just sit him down and be like, keep doing what you're doing? Or is that not even necessary between you guys?
No, I mean I think you just keep saying we've seen this drill before. We've seen this game before, and it just be supportive. It has not been an easy task. We lost just a ton of guys and a ton of experience on defense, and the younger guys now are starting to grow up, and we've gotten the linebackers healthy. Through that whole time, we were down 4 or 5 linebackers. I mean, how many are we playing now altogether? 7, or maybe 8 max. What we're bringing, and we had 4 or 5 of them that weren't with us for a while. That was tough sledding there for a while. We didn't have Porter. We had some other injuries, so I think there's some guys that are healthy, that are growing up, and I think we're playing better. But you're only as good as your next game. That's going to be the challenge coming up. These guys are going to try to run the ball down our throat with a big physical offensive line and physical tight ends, and we better be ready to tackle really well and hold up at the point.
Can you just talk about what Porter's presence means? I mean, I know you didn't play a lot of snaps, but just having him in there, what that does for you guys.
Well, again, I mean, he's strong. He's I think maybe you asked me before, Manny, what would it mean to have a man? What I mean by that is just a guy who's strong. That he's mature. He's physical. He's stout. He can hold the point of attack, not get knocked off. So all of those things, but at the same time that he's coming back, some of the younger guys are growing up, which is good. So it's you're seeing better play from Luther or Corey King or any of those guys right now that they're starting to grow up in there. We're not where we need to be. I keep saying it, so I temper what I'm saying to you. We're not where we need to be, but certainly it helps to have that kind of depth and some strength in there for sure.
Coach, can you just talk a little bit? It seems like Ladarius Gunter has kind of solidified that spot opposite Brandon in the secondary. He's a bigger corner, particularly today in college football where we're seeing these big receivers. How important has his development been for you?
Yeah, I think he's grown up a lot, and he benefited really from the last couple of weeks and certainly the bye week. He's been working hard. He's got length. he's strong, and you know, I think he's settled in now. I think he understands the system, and he's playing with a lot more confidence. But I would say, you know, Crawford's playing better, Tracy's playing better, Howard. So, you know, again, that group's just got to keep moving forward. And I'd say the same thing for Jenkins at safety. He played the most that he played in Virginia Tech game and had success. So hopefully those guys will continue to keep growing as a unit.
Charlottesville at all nostalgic for you?
It is. I mean, I spent 8 years there, you know, so it's obviously, you know, I went to graduate school there. I, you know, started my coaching career there. You know, that's where I was living when we got married and when AJ was born and things of that nature. So sure, yeah. But I mean, am I going to talk about it when I'm there? No, I'll be in the hotel room or I'll be watching film or being in a meeting or getting yelled at, you know, on the field. So one of those 4 things. I won't be talking about the birth of my son or anything like that. All right, guys, have a great day.